Welcome back to the channel, and as always, please note that if you are copy trading, you are an absolute moron and you deserve to lose all your money. And with that out of the way, we're gonna look at today's stock, the Boeing company, well-known company. Obviously, they make airplanes. You probably have flown in one of these yourself. Ticker is BA, trading on the New York Stock Exchange, and currently trading just under $170. So we have in front of us a very compelling chart for a short, which is my bias on this company. And the reason for that is, first of all, as you can see, the technicals have fallen off a cliff. We could see a bit of a pullback as we have just crossed a major support level 170, which has been historically rather tough. But it could also be the case that this momentum continues and it continues dropping to further levels. And the reason for that is this is a company that you may have seen in the news um, as having plenty of issues since the beginning of the year. So in reality, the company has been struggling for quite some time with quality issues. So at the beginning of January, it was reported that there was a panel ejected by accident in flight in one of their airplanes in Alaska Airlines. But that's not the only incident. As a matter of fact, there have been a number of events as well. So a wheel was also captured in video footage dropping from a plane as it was taking off a few weeks ago as well. And so all these things are adding up to the image of the company, which has been widely reported in the media, is seen as very greedy and having severe quality issues. So where we're sitting now, we are above the, the the lows that we reached during the March 2020 pandemic, and the stock has certainly recovered, having reached a maximum of 265, but it certainly has room to drop a lot further to the low 100 level. So the reason for that is because, first of all, this is a stock with high beta, and the company is undergoing investigations following all these incidents. So there could be catalysts in terms of the regulator stepping in and imposing sanctions or measures that may impact its ability to generate profits. That's one thing that I see as likely because at the moment the company is seen as prioritizing profits over safety. And at the same time, that is, if we go to the financials, right? That is something that is crucial for the company this year because as you see in this financial statements here, the company has been losing money for quite some time. We can't say previous years, but it's been bleeding money a lot. But this year, the expectation is that they're going to turn a profit again. So what happens if those expectations are not met? At present, the projections, especially for next year and even this year, are just crazy in terms of how they expect to to have this EPS swing, right? So to put that into perspective, uh, last year they lost $5.81, and this year they think they're gonna get close to zero, and then next year they're gonna get to almost 650. So that's a huge swing in EPS. But we like that because we're traders, so we like volatility. However, again, I think the probabilities are that they don't achieve those expectations. Aside from what is going internally at the company, which we will delve a little bit deeper, I think it's important to mention as well that the macro is not that enticing at the moment. So you have oil up, which should have a negative impact on airlines, uh, postponing the deliveries of new carriers. And you have as well a geopolitical tension that is getting a little bit more calm as months go by. At the same time, the expectation of dropping interest rates is fading away slowly, and that would certainly have an impact on a cyclical company like this. Now, in terms of the upcoming earnings, that is going to be happening on Wednesday, the 24th of April, so we're pretty soon. And that creates an opportunity to enter now. Remember, we are traders or investors um, in this upcoming earnings report, which is going to be one of the biggest for the whole 2024 year, and therefore I think represents uh, volatility for us to enter. Now, when we look at the valuation of this stock, it doesn't make any sense. So let me pull up this chart here. So the way in which I look at this company is with the EV to sales metric, okay? And the reason for that is because this is a company with lots of machinery and expensive assets. And and so to make it a little bit more apples to apples, I'm going to use that metric, and I've selected a number of companies in this space. So what you can see is that up until not that long, it was one of the leaders in the sector, and indeed, it has dropped significantly uh, since then, quite a bit. But I think this trend will continue. And the reason for that is because you have its direct competitor, Airbus, trading at the same multiple. And actually, it's trading just very, very close to a company like Lockheed Martin, which is a terrific business. As a matter of fact, if you use the PE metric over the next 12 months, um, the company, Boeing, trades at a much higher PE multiple versus Lockheed Martin, which to me, I don't think that makes sense in this market. So you have on one side Lockheed profiting quite well from, the different conflicts that we've seen all over the world, and at the same time, Boeing with all these issues, profitability problems, investigations, etc. A departing CEO that has been fired, new guy stepped in, and with all that, they're trading at pretty much same multiple. So to me, that's not justified. Now, uh, we have to look at what these government agencies could do to slow down deliveries in terms of prioritizing safety and all that. Uh, that's all kind of priced in my view. But what if we have another incident? What if uh, tomorrow there's a news article that says that a flight in Malaysia has had issues as well? That could certainly affect the company too. And from let me pull up a different chart here because I think this is quite interesting. From a market perspective, I think this is quite interesting to see as well. So this is how the company's performed year to date compared to one of the major ETFs where it has a 20% weight, and a stock that I'll be speaking with about in our next video, which I'm considering as a long to hedge this short position. So Boeing is already down 30% year to date. The ETF, where it's got a 20% weighting, is up 3.4, and the market is up almost 10. So to me, that shows how much momentum to the downside this stock is carrying. And that's one of the reasons why I'm considering in my portfolio. Another thing that I think could hurt potentially the company in the near term is, like I said, there's a lot of uh, things that are being under scrutiny in terms of the company culture. Uh, you can see articles like this on a regular basis. But one of those things is what's called corporate greed. So in my view, I would not be surprised that another catalyst happens, saying that a major investor decides to reduce their holdings in this company. I think that's another probability uh, to further push down the stock. Now, with this article here, uh, let me go back to actually this table. So this is from Seeking Alpha. Uh, Great resource if you want to use it. It's free, and it makes a very compelling review of stocks that drop following some kind of scandal. Remember the chart that I just showed you with the stock being 30%. So here we review things like BP with the oil spill, Chipotle with food poisoning, Volkswagen with emissions cheating. And so they looked at the recent incident, which back then was a 28% drawdown. I reworked the date starting the 1st of January, and it's a great thing about that 30% that we just seen. But the point is that we're looking at 73 days is the example that it's giving us here. In here is a little bit longer, but it can go, and it has happened in the past actually, a lot longer. So up to a year or more. And that could certainly be the case happening here. So the company knows that they are in deep trouble. And what they have decided to do, aside from bringing this new CEO, is to acquire a company that they spun out and sold to private equity back in 2005 called Spirit Aerosystems. And essentially what those guys do, they're a manufacturer of their fuselage, some of the parts in their planes. And so they call it traveler work in the sense that Spirit manufactures that, sends like a generic model to Boeing, and Boeing finishes it up and plugs it into their planes. So that company is 5 billion. We have a look here. Actually, just under 4 billion. And Boeing has 12 billion, almost 13 in cash. So money is not a problem, right? It may be something significant for them to get out of pocket, but certainly achievable for them to acquire it. The reason, though, why I think this presents with an opportunity for a short is because it's a binary outcome. The deal may or may not go through, and we will review in a second the different scenarios. But in my view, it is likely that Boeing has to pay up for this company. And the reason for that is because Spirit um, has primarily two major clients. One is Boeing, which accounts for 80% of their sales. But the other one is Airbus, which is their direct competitor, right? So Boeing was quite decisive in terms of initiating these discussions, which were announced at the beginning of March to acquire Spirit. Airbus was kind of surprised by it, and different sources in the industry say that Airbus was initially reluctant to enter this discussion. So, quite a few things to unpack here. First of all, I think this could be a move from Boeing to one, try to improve their operational issues for quality control. Two, I think it could be some kind of maneuver to create future value in the stock because they know that the next report may not be so good, so they're trying to deviate a bit the attention from a bad earnings report. And three, Airbus has leverage here because they have repeatedly said that they're in no rush. But at the same time, the CEO said that the acquisition of certain plants from Spirit is not unlikely. So there are rumors, right, that claim that the deal may be in its late stages. And so we could see that acquisition happening even before earnings or announced during earnings. Who knows? Perhaps in a few weeks. Now, like I said, it is likely because Airbus has leverage here. They're not desperate to fix all these issues that Boeing has, that Boeing has to pay up as well. They have a conflict of interest in perhaps not getting that deal done because if the deal gets done, it aids their major competitor. But also, they don't care that much because it's 20% of Spirit sales, whereas for Boeing it's 80. So it's not, I mean, it's important, but it's not like crucial like for those guys. So again, it's a binary outcome. We could have a deal or we could have a no deal. And so I think there are four different scenarios that we could see happening. So outcome one, there's a deal. Boeing acquires Spirit and pays up, and then Boeing is up or simply remains flat for a while, which obviously would result in Spirit going up. Outcome number two, the deal is cancelled. Maybe they don't reach an agreement, or Airbus changes their mind as to whether or not they want to have that deal done, because they do have a saying as per the contracts that they have in place as to whether that happens or not. And that would cause obviously to have Boeing go down as well as Spirit, because the price of the stock of Spirit has obviously increased since the announcement. Outcome number three is that the deal is simply postponed, which would likely see Boeing go down, but would keep Spirit flat to maybe slightly up. And the reason for that could be they might be a bit in war. At the end of the day, uh, Spirit is an asset that is currently attractive, is in high demand. So we could see perhaps a private equity player or a different kind of company enter and start a bidding war because they know that Boeing is desperate to buy that asset. And the last outcome that I see, which is also a possibility, is that yes, there is a deal, but at the same time, the issues that we see with investigations, which Spirit is also facing by the regulator, creep up. And maybe that happens on both sides with Boeing and Spirit. Because I think if we were to think a bit of a more dramatic scenario, uh, it could be that there are more negative news that are going to be released to the public that these two players may know because they work very, very close together and that affect both of them and haven't been made public yet. I think that's also a possibility. So my price target with this is 150. I think there's $20 to the downside on that earnings report, and there's different ways in which we can play that. So likely I'm going to do that with options. Buy two contracts of the 21st of June 160 puts and sell one contract of 17th of May 160 puts. So I can buy for 573 and sell at 388. That provides me with a 30% return at the $150 level. And after expiry, provides me with a 1.6 return and potentially more up to 3 if we get to say 145 after expiry. So that's the stock I'm looking at. I think it fits well with the rest of my portfolio, highly cyclical, which um, the market is not betting on at the moment. And you'll see shortly another video in tandem with this one where I analyze Spirit as a long leg for this short play. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for subscribing and see you soon.